Dr. Don Newbury, the idle American in Fort Worth. Today, I heard tell. Our sense of hearing is to be treasured. The sound of ships nearing shores, buzzers sounding at the end of victories, and fireworks signaling a new year are but three examples. There are, however, pitfalls to be endured. Sometimes we overhear too much, and sadly, take off like a world champion jockey on the fastest of steeds can outdo my Uncle Mort, who utters fragments of what he thinks he hears at 200 words per minute with gusts to 250. A while back he asked a grown granddaughter what she found so interesting on the internet. Mostly Facebook, she answered. Later, in a domino game at the general store in the thicket, he told his buddies that he was thinking of getting a computer so he could establish some cred with the younger set. Who knows, he asked, I might even enjoy looking at facelift. Huh. Sometimes he concocts absurdities solely to gain attention. Quote, I sure enjoyed lunch last Thanksgiving Day with Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones, he blathered. His buddies snapped to attention, none believing him. No way, they concluded, but their attention was now at his disposal. Yep, there we were, showing up at the very same time to order hot dogs at AT&T Stadium. Great minds, I guess, both craving some grub before watching the Cowboys play, he claimed. It was Dutch treat, of course. He had hoped the multi-billionaire might reimburse him for half of what he had shelled out for parking, since his golf cart required only a half space. Well, sometimes folks in Mort's presence ask him to tell him again about long-ago experiences while employed at a mental hospital. My job was to help him decide what folks ought to be admitted, he lied. Immediately he shared the account he knew they wanted to hear, for the umpteenth time. Well, I went out to this small town to check on a guy, and the only person handy was a feed store guy leaning back on a cane-bottomed chair, whittling away on a tree limb. Right away he admitted knowing the feller, so I asked him if he thought the man ought to be in a mental institution. Choosing his words carefully, the whittler sat up, pocketed his knife, cleared his throat, and got a plug of chewing tobacco, handy to use when his recitation ended. Well, he said, as long as he's out, I don't think they'll put him in. Pausing for a few seconds, he added, but if they ever put him in, I doubt if they'll ever let him out. There are times such as this when even instant replay wouldn't help. My friend Colleen Mink is in the theater management, having served for several years for the premier cinema chain, which has a theater in our town. A do-everything employee, whose duties are many, probably spilling onto a second page in single-space type, thinks she's seen and heard just about everything during her 2 decades in the field. Recently she added to her "You won't believe this one" list. It was a Monday when senior adults are admitted both day and evening for $6. A petite lady, perhaps in her 80s, purchased a ticket, admitting that this was her first visit to a picture show this century. Then she walked around the lobby, pausing in front of an electronic machine that has colorful business ads flipping every dozen seconds or so. One was for Wendy's, promoting $6, $8, and $10 hamburger specials. She waited a couple more minutes to see it again. Then she approached Colleen, saying, I think I'll have a $6 Wendy's burger with no onions. Poor Colleen. It was hers to carefully explain to the patron that movie theaters usually don't sell hamburgers. Truth to tell, I'd like one too, she said under her breath. Thankfully, she didn't have to add that Premier doesn't sell chewing gum either. Don Newbury in Fort Worth. Good day.